Hey y'all, welcome back to Crystal Vision Therapy. Of course, I am your favorite therapist, Miss Tisha. And today I really wanted to touch on Cheese Factory Gates. I'm sure we've all seen the video by now.
Whew. Let me just get the door for you.
Okay.
He got me at the Cheesecake Factory, y'all. I ain't getting out this car. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yes. Would you want me to open the door for you? Look. Are you're recording me?
Yeah. Yeah. This is the Cheesecake Factory. This is the Cheesecake Factory, y'all.
What's the problem with that?
This is a chain restaurant. Who takes someone that looks like this to a chain restaurant?
You want to talk about it? I'm fine with talking about it, even in front of them.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about it. Yeah. And it's been a couple weeks. I'm happy that I waited to talk about this because it was indeed a skit. Um, there is something to be said about the type of skits that we're seeing come out lately, and it seems to be centered around Black women. And I think there could be a whole other discussion on why that's happening, why that is, what society is trying to tell us, or socialize us to be. But for right now, I really just want to focus in on what the skit was trying to demonstrate about dating in 2023. I do think that it was a little bit over the top, but some of it is realistic, right? About what we feel we deserve, how we look, what you feel like you're deserved, how another person is supposed to treat you sight unseen, right? Without the person truly getting to know you. I think there is lessons to be learned, right? So in the clip, you guys, she keeps referencing that, you don't treat a beautiful woman like this. You don't, take her to a chain restaurant, right? She deserves the best of the best of the best. Pretty privilege is absolutely something that exists, right? I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you again. We all know it does. And in 2023, what that looks like is I'm willing to pay for the privilege to look at you. And I'm willing to do all these things that you need me for that opportunity. However, pretty privilege is given. You cannot brand it on yourself. And I think that's one of the main issues right here that was wrong with the clip. Another thing that bothered me is, why would you want him to value something that's skin deep? And I think we understand that pretty privilege does give you access to a certain lifestyle, but are they happier? The jury's out on that. I will never forget, Halle Berry did an interview with Oprah, and Oprah is like, how does it feel to be one of the prettiest women in the world? And Halle's just kind of like, I mean, I didn't get anything for it, right? And this was the time, she was in an abusive relationship. Remember, Eric Benet was cheating on her. She had to beg to play the strung out person in movies. They were telling her she was too pretty to be in movies, and she said it didn't really get me anything. Right. And I'm sure you've seen people who maybe to you is not as attractive, but they have all the things. They married well, they have beautiful children, beautiful house. And so we have to be careful about how much stock we put into our looks, and what we think we deserve because of them. And I think this is where it goes wrong. And I have to be honest, in session, this is where it goes wrong too. Typically, though, I see it the other way, right? Where it's like people feel like they're not pretty, so they don't deserve. Being pretty is a quality, right? Like anything else, like being smart, like being funny. And just because, maybe, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're a 6.5 and not a 8, it doesn't mean that you deserve anything less, because other amazing qualities to bring to the table. We're all kind of this bowl of soup. um, and I know, because of social media, it's like everything's about a picture, about a look. So you feel like the world really values how you look. It is a value. It is not the only value. I feel like the pendulum has completely swung in a way that we need to kind of get it towards the middle. Of course, yes, in the beginning, you have to know what you're willing to accept from a person. Are you willing to accept, going Dutch? You have to know that if that's okay with you. Are you willing to accept a late night date? Are you willing to go out in the morning for coffee? But none of it is bad. And none of it means that you don't value yourself or the person doesn't value you. You figure out what you want, right? But have it be realistic. This person does not know you. Um, I always say this, that there should be a class action suit against Disney, because we really feel like you don't know me, but you should be willing to empty out your bank account for me. You should be willing to lay your life on the line for me. You should be willing to do all these things without even truly getting to know my personality. You should just know I'm amazing. You should know I'm Cinderella and you are my prince and you're going to come save me. No, no, no. Right? Someone has to build that up. Right? And that's how you get something that lasts, and not something that's super fiery and kind of wears out or burns down.
Oh, okay. Okay. So yes, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
So you expect a man to go all out on the first date. Is that right?
I mean, you're supposed to. When you take out a beautiful woman and you're courting her, because I get courted. So you're courting her, right? You're supposed to take care of her. You're supposed to cover her. You're supposed to protect her, cherish her, treat her well, right?
Yeah.
So courting isn't you do what I say. That's not courting. Courting is dating with the intention to be married, right? And so, when Alicia mentions, well, you're supposed to court me. You're supposed to. It really just sounded like you're supposed to do everything in your power to impress me. And that's not necessarily courting. That's not what that is. I keep seeing this come up where it's like, well, I got to keep it with appearances, right? Like I have a social media influence and I have, a couple thousand followers and they think I live this soft life. And, what would they think of me if I said, hey, the person I was dating took me out for coffee? We are really struggling because we are living inauthentic lives, and it has to stop. You are missing out on your blessing because you're trying to be inauthentic. And so maybe this was the love of her life, but we'll never know, right? Because of, well, we know it was a skit, but we never know because he feels completely disrespected, right? And that's going to be his first and lasting impression. Another thing I think we're struggling with dating is we're not giving things enough time to cook. If you took out a piece of chicken and you're trying to fry it, and you put it in the oil for 30 seconds and took it out, it's not ready. It's gonna be gross. Right? And so sometimes you let things play out, right? Where it's like, okay, you took me to Cheesecake Factory. I'm not a fan, but I know there's one thing that menu is massive. So I know there's one thing I can eat on that menu. And then later on, as we get to know each other, I can tell him that that's not my favorite place. The reason why I say this is because in this skit, he mentions that Cheesecake Factory is a source of comfort for him, right? His family always celebrated his birthday there. It's important to him. It's kind of special to him, right? I remember growing up, my mom would take me to the library. Every time I set foot in the library, it's a source of comfort for me. I'm nostalgic. I remember all the different things I used to do in the library. So what I will say is we can understand things about people, maybe not understand it 100%, or maybe not even like it, but file it and say, you know what, I'm not sure about this, but I'm going to file it and learn more. Be curious to learn more instead of I'm looking for all my red flags. I'm looking for every single red flag. Oh, Cheesecake Factory, he's gone. We got to stop this. We aren't, ready-made people. We all have flaws. And it's about, what are you willing to accept about me? What am I willing to sacrifice for you? Because guess what? If you fry that chicken and you fry it to perfection, it's amazing. right? But you got to take the time to make it. You got to take the time to fry it. You got to see where it goes. Instead of being so quick to just dip it in and dip it out. And of course, it's not going to taste as great. And it's kind of the same. I feel like we're in such a rush to be unhappy, essentially. We're in a rush to go absolutely nowhere. And I think that's what this skit truly, truly highlights. Um, I'll let the sociologists kind of deal with, what they think the message is, what the socialization is. But yeah, let me know what you thought about the skit. You know, what are you taking away? Is there anything that you would do differently dating because of this? And I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.